Welcome to The Gap, where it's our mission to bridge the gap between training and on-field performance.
I'm Brett Hart, owner of Hitman Performance.
And I'm Dan Labadia, the owner of Jack Javelin.
Hope you guys enjoy the show.
This is the time of year where, you're able to kind of like look back and reflect on my busy season of the spring and the summer and see like what kind of improvements and changes you need to make for next year. So obviously, we talk about how I came out with the plyo balls, so that was a big new thing. And then I added to my free course, and that was a big new thing. And then I'm kind of in this like homeostasis now.
It's a big word.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. So we're going to be focusing a lot on the pod and just really locking in my own personal fitness and training, doing 75 hard and whatnot. But the one thing that does frustrate me from a coach's perspective is just you think back to how many people like only train during the spring or like only during the summer. And that's tough for me because, I just see a lot of kids that are really good and talented, but, they might not be doing other sports, or maybe they are doing other sports, but they don't make the time to even get like one session a month or whatever. And I just think that from the perspective of the athlete, you're losing, if you're training one month or 2 months out of the year and you're not keeping up with it, you're not going to improve. And so it's kind of the opposite of baseball players. Like a lot of times we talk about how baseball players will only train in the off season, and then when the season starts, they stop. And then in javelin is the opposite, and the season is really short. So a lot of these kids that are doing javelin, a lot of them will only train for a couple of months out of the year, and that's it. And so that's just a frustrating thing for me because I want to see my kids more and I want them to get better throughout the whole year. And that's really what's best for them. And that's also when you're able to make the most changes is in the off season, when you're able to tweak things. If I have a kid that has a lesson on a Tuesday and then they have a meet on a Thursday, it's like there's not that much that we can change in that time. But when you have the full off season, you're able to really work on certain specific things and improve over a longer period of time. So yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at. It's just, obviously like I have some kids that are doing online stuff in the meantime while they're away at school and whatnot. But I just wish that more of my athletes prioritized like training and even like asking questions and stuff. It's like, how many kids will only DM me asking for questions like in the middle of the season? And it's like, all right, well, if you were training the whole year, you probably could have figured out some of this stuff like 6 months ago. Not even kids that I work with, but just like the influx of emails and messages and YouTube comments I get is always in the spring. And so that's where, as a coach, like I said, you want the kids to be able to learn their lessons and learn from their mistakes. And the best way to do that is by experimenting with things during the off season, not in the middle of the season when you're trying to get ready to compete right away.
Yeah, I think that's just a lot of the majority of athletes in any sport. The people that care about it year round, those are the ones that have the questions year round, and they're going to prioritize training. They're going to do their nutrition logins and actually care about what they're eating and doing their extra mobility work and doing the extra skill work. It's the top 10% that I've talked about when you're like programming for a team. It's like the top 10%. Those are the people that you really don't have to do much. Like, they're going to show up, put in the work, do the extra work, sometimes to a fault where they do too much work. And then that's where like the injuries come up with overuse. It's a very minuscule amount, but it does happen. Those are the workhorses. Those are the people that really try to like elevate themselves. The 80% are the ones that, it's baseball season, let me pick up the bat. Or it's, let me start throwing a couple weeks out, like to get my arm ready. Like, there's no year-long preparation for it. It's their sport. They just want to play their sport during their sports season. And the rest of the year, they might play other sports, they might do other things, and they might shift priorities somewhere else. And the bottom 10%, they're useless. They're just on the team to be on the team. I was like, that's the reality of like a full team. And you've played sports in a large setting, like you can see it. Like you can categorize people into buckets, and you know where people fit. And like you have the dogs, the middle of the pack, and then the people that those are the ones that need really hard coaching, in my opinion, or someone that can get them to. If you're a coach that can get that bottom 10% up and like minimize that gap from the bottom to the middle tier, like you don't need to make those kids at the bottom great. They're not going to be at the top 10%. But if you can get them in the middle, or like getting closer away from the bottom, like that's a good job. And to really target those kids to get them wanting to try harder, and for the team as a whole. Like we talked about the last podcast about like the selfishness and the selfless, and like the top 10% are usually not the greatest athletes in the weight room. They're usually going to be the strength coaches. So that's where my mind goes when you speak of that, is like those kids are going to want to just focus on their sport primarily, and that's like the majority of athletes. And it's our bias, being in the top 10% of the weight room, our bias is going to be training and preparation and understanding that, like your boy Hormozy says, like do so much work, it's unlikely that you'd fail.
Yeah.
Like you're just wanting to put in more work, so you're lowering the chances of you failing. Majority of people don't think like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a volume game. You know, you can't fake 1,000 reps with the jab. You can't fake 10,000 hours doing approach work. You can't fake 100 podcast episodes.
Dog.
You know, and so I think that especially too when you are someone who is in the category of I don't have a javelin coach, or my coach doesn't know what he's talking about, or I'm at a D3 school with no resources, or I started a podcast in my friend's bedroom with no equipment and I don't know what I'm doing. It's like when you're like that, more of that underdog story or that self-made story, you have to just do more. I'm not going to say outwork, but it is outwork. You know, it's like not only just doing the hard work, right? It's not just doing the extra reps and the extra throws and the extra bench press and squat and mobility and sprints, but it's also learning and comprehending and understanding the technique and why you're doing things. Just like with us, it's not just coming in and going through the motions and just recording and talking on camera. It's what's the best podcast equipment, researching the best podcast equipment to use, how to use it effectively. You know, what cameras should we get?
Multiple.
What tripods should we get? Like, you know, how do you articulate what you're trying to articulate on camera when you're in a conversation style? Because that's something that I've talked to you about, was when we talk about the 100 reps of doing something, it took me probably, I would say 85 to 90 episodes to truly feel comfortable actually, you know, not worrying about the production side of things and being able to just sit down and relax and talk to you. Because a lot of times before that, I was so worried about, oh my God, am I in frame?
You were always messing with the thing. Yeah.
Is it recording?
Because we didn't know what we were doing.
How's the volume doing? You know, or like, you know, thinking about something else when I'm, you know, recording and talking. And then also too, like, I think part of it was like learning the side of, all right, when I was doing a YouTube video, I'm talking directly to the camera, teaching the audience that's on the camera about a specific topic that I already outlined and wrote a script for, versus in a podcast, I'm either talking to you about something that you know about, which I'm like, all right, subconsciously, I'm like, okay, I'm teaching Brett about something that he already knows, or I'm talking about javelin, something that you don't know about. So
Donkey
it's like,
kick,
so
through the point.
Yeah. So for me, that was a big thing, was like learning to trust the setup and trust our training, right? It was just, you know, you had to do it 85 times for me to feel confident that like, okay, like the setup's fine. And if it's not, I'm decent enough at the editing now.
Bro, we had the setup locked in before we even realized what we were talking about today.
I know. It was quick.
We wanted to go.
I know. I was like, oh, what are we talking about today?
This reminds me of not being good right now. It's like not worrying about being good right now. It's like that's the whole point of it. Like no one starts a sport and expects to be the Michael Jordan of that sport, like when they start. Like the reps you do and the work you put in all aid in that final goal. That's why I loved that Jay Schroeder and Adam Archuleta clip at the end of the Freak of Training. I was talking about you don't need to be good right now. Like, you need to just worry about your progression as you go. Like, I was filming YouTube videos this weekend, and what stopped me from doing it for so long is I was feeling as I was doing it is that I wanted it to be perfect. And I was just thinking about, like, dude, I just need to make them good enough. It's like, it's going to take 100 episodes that suck anyways.
Yeah.
So all that work we did, it said, like, it took you 85 episodes to feel comfortable. Like, you look at the volume of other strength coaches that are at, like, the peak, I guess, like the metaphorical peak of the industry that we look at, like our Mount Rushmore of coaches. And then you look at how many posts they've have, like, they're in the thousands. They're 5, 6, 7, 8,000 posts. And I'm not even at that. I'm at like 650 or 620 posts. And I've only been doing it for so long. Like, these guys, like, I would talk about, like, Eric Cressy and Mike Boyle, Zach Evanesh, like Louis Simmons back in the day. Like, they all coached longer than I was alive.
Zach Zillner.
Oh, yeah, Zach Zillner. Forgot about him. But, like, those guys, like the old school, not even old school, like the guys that have just been in it for so long, like, they've literally coached longer than I've been alive.
I know.
That's what's crazy to me to think about.
That's what's really cool too, is like we hit our 100 episode the same week that our good friend Chris Williamson hit 1,000. So, like, that was kind of nice that, Big Bro sent us the
new tonic. Shout out Chris Williamson. Thank you, brother.
I know. Yeah, that was.
We got to all link up soon. We got to get a round table of Alex Ramosi, Chris Williamson.
Oh my Man, we're gonna get canceled. Man, we just started doing good. But what was I forgot what I was gonna say now. I got distracted. But stupid.
It's so funny. Yeah, but thanks, Chris, for the new tonic.
Dude, they reposted us.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I think that's their marketing strategy, I think, is just very OVR-esque. I think OVR kind of, like, copied how they do it. Because anyone that posts about it, they'll repost.
Yeah.
Or, like,
I mean, I pretty much do the same thing, too. But sometimes I'll get annoyed when people will tag me in something. And then it's like, I know for a fact they're working with another coach. Or I know for a fact they're not doing one of my programs. I'm like, because then people in the javelin community will just do a throw and tag me so they get clout.
Yeah.
Or it's like, dude, yeah. I'll if you're like one of my athletes and you're promoting, like, the program or my coaching philosophy, or you're a good friend of mine or whatever, then I have no problem. I'll repost pretty much anyone. But how many kids are just randomly just tagging me and stuff just because they want me to repost it? It's like, dude, crazy. But you're not going to get a lot of followers just if I put you on my story.
You're probably going to get any.
Yeah. Like, dude, that's not how it works.
That's
that's what I was ripping about with the javelin zone things. Like, anyone that starts to try to post javelin content will just collaborate with Javelin Zone and just want Javelin Zone to, like, push their stuff out for them. And it's like, dude, any big javelin page did not grow from collaborating with Javelin Zone.
I mean, yeah. But I always get tagged in the Bret the Hitman Hart WWE stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. And I was like,
how'd you come up with your name?
Well, my name, Bret Hart, is my name. I got the birth certificate to prove it. And it's different than the Canadian WWF, WWE Hall of Famer wrestler, because he's spelt with 1 T. I'm spelt with 2.
Okay.
But I've been called Hitman since I was 4 years old, and that has been my nickname.
From who?
Coaches.
Because of him?
Yes.
Because of the other guy?
Yeah, obviously. Because that was him. He was Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart. There's a the there. Just for anyone
so now you're Bret 2 T's, no the.
I'm just Bret Hart. But Hitman is my nickname and now my brand. It's just, I'm Bret Hitman Hart. My coach, when I was 14, when I played travel baseball, when I looked at the order sheet, wrote Hitman in the 3 slot. Didn't even write my name. It was just Hitman. So I've been called Hitman my entire life. Like, I look nothing like him. I don't wrestle. I don't have long hair, and I don't wear pink leotards. So I always think it's funny when people confuse me with the two. It's like if you do a less than 5 second scroll, not even three, like a 2 second, just click on my page.
Just look at my picture, man.
Just look at the picture. I was like, it's clear that I'm not him and have no affiliation with him just besides the name. It's a nickname, and that's all it is. And I thought it was funny. It's just people do that all the time because they just look. It was more so when it was Hitman Performance.
Yeah, well, you didn't have your profile picture was your logo.
I remember when I first blew up, this kid, a random kid, was saying like, "Dude, I remember watching you growing up in the ring." It's like, "I'm so sorry about your brother," because his brother did end up passing away in the ring.
Oh my God.
Owen Hart, he fell from the rafters and he was supposed to be bungee corded in, and it was like it was the worst WWE, I think it was WWF at the time, accident in history. It was like terrible.
I can imagine. That's awful.
But their whole family was wrestlers, and but he was like, "Dude, it's so sick seeing you do all like the training and the sports performance stuff. Like, I've really looked up to you."
Man, you bridging the gap between wrestling and training, man. That's awesome.
I was like, I didn't text him back because I don't want to burst his bubble. I feel like he had maybe some CTE or something because he said he played. He said he had a lot of concussions in that text. In that long text, he said he had like 10 concussions. So I was like, yeah, this guy's definitely a little off. But if you're listening, I'm not him. So I hate to break it to you. I am just a normal guy.
How old is the other guy?
He's like 70 something.
He's 70? Oh my God.
He's had a stroke. He's had cancer. I met him once. Like he's fought hard to be staying alive for this long. Like,
jeez.
Let me look it up right now because I don't want to get that wrong. I know he's had health issues in the past. He's 68. So I was close. And he was born July 2nd, 1957.
How old is he?
68.
Wow, that is close to 70.
Thanks. I was
like
close.
2 away.
Dude, it's right there. It rounds up. Yeah, so I always thought that was funny of getting tagged in those WWE, like when Hulk Hogan passed away, like people were posting their memorabilia and like I'm getting tagged in it. I was like, nice. What was a training high for this week? Not this week, but just like in the past, I guess.
Just in general.
Yeah.
So I kind of talked about it, I think 2 episodes ago, but I've been going through 75 hard. And it's definitely been more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be.
You did that outdoor workout yesterday?
Nope. I just threw the towel in and I worked out indoors for an hour and a half.
All right. I guess that works.
So that was my thing. It's like I at least still got an hour and a half of training in. You know, it just wasn't that I was supposed to run or walk outside and I just didn't. I was a little strapped for time. And to be honest, another big part of it was because I was eating those Rice Krispie treats before my lift. And I was like, dude, I was supposed to bench heavy yesterday, which I did. So I was like, for me to bench heavy and like warm up the proper way and do like 4 sets of 3 at 295 and have like 5 minutes rest in between, like, I need an hour. So then at that point, it's like I could have done like a 45-minute lift and then gone outside and done like a 45-minute jog/walk. But I was just like, I was like, all right, I have like 2 hours. Where I was like, if I get this lift and like do everything I need, it's going to be at least an hour and 15 minutes. And I was like, and then I didn't have enough time to do a full 45-minute outdoor workout and drive home. So I was like, I'm just going to lift I lifted for almost 2 hours. So it's like, I don't count that as like a complete like wash because like I still pushed myself and got a ton of activity in, way more than I would have in the summertime. So that's the end goal, is I have to remind myself like, all right, what's my goal? My goal doing 75 hard was to lock in my diet, get rid of bread and dessert, or gluten heavy dessert. And so the only like dessert that I've had was the Rice Krispie treats, which is for performance.
It was a pre-workout, yeah.
It was pre-workout. But, you know, like I got rid of like pasta, bread, sandwiches, because that was a big thing for me was in the summertime when I need the quick stuff. Like I'm always relying on just like sandwiches or like getting a bacon, egg, and cheese at Starbucks or Dunkin' or getting the quick thing. And now that I have to get my carb sources from either rice or oats or potatoes, it forces me to plan ahead a lot more. And if I don't plan ahead, then I got to get something that's just high protein that has no carbs on the road, which is like most of the time a protein shake or something like that. And so it's been good though. I'm about 25 days in. I've been, pushing myself a lot in the weight room. And then the big thing for me is like I have to do better about prioritizing my outdoor workout during the day or in the morning, because I'll always wake up and pretty much lift first thing in the morning, and I get that out of the way. And then I'm always like, all right, I'll have like this hour window after lunch where I'll get my walk in. But then whatever I'm doing always ends up taking longer than I anticipate. And then that hour after lunch before my lesson turns into like a 30-minute block. So then it's not long enough to check the box of the 45-minute outdoor workout. So then I end up doing the outdoor workout at like 9:30 at night. And then my wife is like asleep, and then I come in late, and it's not ideal for my sleep schedule either, especially like I have to wake up at like 5 the next day and lift or whatever. So definitely is making me be more precise, like with my time schedule and my diet. Like I've lost 5 pounds since I started, and partly to the diet, because it's really hard for me to overeat on rice and oats and potatoes. When I have access to eating bread and cookies and dessert or pizza, like that is like, dude, I could overeat that in a second.
Dude, I can slam a large pie in like 20 minutes, and that's a days of calories right there.
Yeah, and even just like consistently getting the step count in, because there's a lot of days where I would lift for like an hour, and then I would tell myself like, oh, I'll try to go to the track later, or I'll try to go on like a walk later, and it just never ends up happening because I'm working and doing stuff, and it's like, no, now I have to do it. It forces you to do it every time. So the last 25 days, there hasn't been a day where I've done less than an hour and a half of activity a day, even on like Sundays, and that's 7 days a week. So that's a big part too, is like I noticed that even if I was really locked in the past, I could be locked in for 4 or 5 days out of the week getting really good training in, or going on a jog or going on a walk and doing both the lift and the cardio. But I would stick to, a lot of times because of my work schedule, I would stick to that like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday would be lower, Saturday would be lower, Sunday would be lower. That's end up being like half the week. Now, my diet's locked in all 7 days, and then I'm also getting an hour and a half of activity a day, no matter what. So it's been going well. I've been taking the progress photos, and my goal is, at the end of day 75 is going to be my surgery. And so my goal is on day 75, like I'm going to max out my bench press and see where I'm at, because my best was 340 on the day of my wedding 2.5 years ago. And so now I'm going to
Which you did go up to 350 after.
Yep. That I did not get. I should have.
You felt it though.
Realistically, I probably could have got 345 that day, but I think after I was going up like, 325, 335, then 340, and then I went 350. So it was
yeah,
if I had planned
345, you would have got it.
Yeah, if I had planned for 345, I would have got it, but it's all right. I'm going to try to get 350 this time around.
Sick.
That'll be good.
I'm just trying to bench without my shoulder blowing up.
Yeah. You been banged up or what? You still on the ISO wave?
Still on the ISO wave, still on the neurology wave and the brain. So training high. So I had a pretty cool phone call with Jared Slater from IHD Performance. Definitely check him out. And he made me do some movement screens, like gait, walking, just standing there with my eyes closed and like seeing like where my body sways, and this simple like hand touch to the nose and everything, just to see like what my body does. And so he screen recorded them and was telling me like, dude, it's like, I can't really tell. It's like, I think it's like the right side of your brain that's a little bit overcompensated, but like some tests would show other ways. So he's essentially writing me a program, what exercises to do for the next couple of weeks that I do every day. He said they should take around like 45 minutes to an hour, and it's literally just 5-minute isometric holds with perfect form in the perfect position that I need to be in to help my compensations that I have, whether that be from lifting, sitting, doing what I do.
Let me ask you a question. So is this that video you posted today, is that his program and his protocol?
Nope, that's Coach Saz.
Okay.
That's Mito.
Because what I was going to say was, So are you incorporating this dude's stuff on top of SAS, or
Yes,
is it? Okay.
I'm incorporating on top of SAS, which Jared told me, like, dude, you're going to get fucked up by this. And I was like, I work out for my job, so it's fine. I'll just do one in the morning, one at night if I could.
Yeah.
Or I'll prioritize his to get feeling better, because SAS's programs are legit. Again, Brian SAS, Coach SAS, shout him out and definitely check his stuff out. But I've been tagging him all the time because he writes my lifts. And it's such a different style of training than traditional strength and conditioning. All right, so it's not just moving weight, getting numbers, tracking it, and it's not about like hypertrophy or muscle building, like the normal stuff that people talk about all the time. It is very neuro heavy based. Like your brain is into it the entire time. Like if you're doing a bicep curl overcoming isometric, I noticed this today, and I'm doing it. Like I feel my right side drop before my left.
Into the rack?
Into the rack, yeah. It's like you hear it, and it's essentially like it's a pre-fatigue. So you're 40-second overcoming, and you press into the rack, hold, and then you step out, and then you go slow reps, 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. I've done something very similar to this in the past, but without the overcoming ISO. So it was like Zach Rakow gave it to me. It was the 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, just like continuous movement, like promoting a lot of blood flow and getting a lot of sensation to that specific muscle group. But now we're using an overcoming ISO beforehand. And I want to talk to him about it just to get like the actual science and the reasoning behind it down. Because I have an idea, but I just don't want to butcher it and not be entirely sure. But what I'm really curious about with the 5-minute isometrics to see how they can help my gait and see what it can do with just like my hip and my hamstring and my left shoulder. And like I have opposite ends that get injured quite frequently. Like it's always my left shoulder and it's always like my right hip or right hamstring. Like it's always right side, lower body, left side,
opposite
upper body.
arm, opposite leg,
Dude,
baby.
It for whatever reason. Like I've had Achilles tendonitis in my left foot, but that was years ago. But what he was explaining to me with the 5-minute isometrics is like the first 3 minutes is just to burn that compensation that you have out. And it's
3 minutes straight?
3 minutes straight. And he said the last 2 minutes are to help build up the new compensation movement pattern that you really want. So that, he said, the 5 minutes is important, but the last 2 minutes are the most important, where it really hurts and you're really fighting to stay in that perfect straight position, like anatomically correct position. And that's what he was explaining to me. And Saz said the same thing, and Jungles has said the same thing. It's not square one, it's not RPR. It's like literally 5-minute isometric holds to change how your body moves. And I think that just and he was telling me how fast it can happen and how fast you can get results, because like traditional PT and traditional strength and conditioning training is all about like how long, like it's a long-term approach that we talked about. Like PT is generically like really dragged out, and like we've talked about with Sam Davis, like how we said he can warm up in 3 minutes. Like, is the traditional PT dragged out because they can keep charging you every week and getting money? Like, do they really want you to get fixed fast, or do they want to just treat it? And then we're talking about like the ice, like to just null the pain, comes back, and then you have to just keep doing it. Like chiros are pretty much the same way. They just snap your back.
Yeah, and that's like
you feel good. And
chiros is like 3 times a week too.
Yeah, and because that good feeling leaves before you get to your
where
car.
did that good feeling go?
Oh, it's right here in my pocket. But that's where my mind gets excited about, and I know it's gonna suck and it's gonna be like hard training. But if you're trying to move a certain way and not be in pain, it's obviously gonna be difficult.
You'd be proud of me. I did a 2-minute split squat lunge the other day.
Unbroken,
heel elevated.
Dog.
Depth was questionable.
You were just standing up. Dude, I was
doing a calf stretch.
Dude, normal warm-ups.
I mean, it definitely wasn't like all the way down.
That one I posted today of
was better than
the front foot elevated with the band around the front foot and you sink into position. I love that. I did a minute each side. Like it burns like crazy, but I felt so loose and my legs just felt so good. Like it just opens up the legs a little bit, and I was able to go right into depth drops after and not really have any issues. And the stuff I'm noticing with Saz is the high rep stuff. Like if you see like a depth drop push up, like I did 50 of them consecutive today. Like I would do if I was regularly programming for people, it would be like 3 sets of 3 to 5. Like, you know what I mean? So that also is making me question like the higher rep stuff. If you're staying intentful for it, like you actually feel different about like 25 reps in. Like you're feeling what you want. Like by the 30th rep, my chest was on fire, but I was starting to feel that pull back and be able to catch myself on the ground and then reset. Like I'm in the depth drop too. Like my first 2 reps of depth drops yesterday, I didn't even count because they were terrible. Like I didn't sink into position. I was falling forward and I just wasn't prepared for it. I was like, those first 2 reps were awful.
Yeah.
And then I was able to do 50 in a row perfectly fine.
So what's interesting, I actually had a kid that just bought the Strong and Mobile program like 2 days ago. Not the Strong and Mobile, sorry, Fast Twitch. And it was ironic because it was the day that I posted like the 2, and this is all on my Dan Lab page too, but I posted like the pogo hops and the broad jumps and like some of that and some of those plyometrics I was doing. And then I shared it on my story, and then the kid bought the Fast Twitch program. And then today I posted doing the unilateral split squat jumps and then the unilateral reverse lunge, which is also part of the Fast Twitch program, because my Fast Twitch program is essentially all of those upper body and lower body plyometrics. But then in terms of the plyometrics and mobility, a lot of it is in that unilateral stance, and even the strength work is in the unilateral stance, as opposed to the Strong and Mobile program. It's all like bilateral stance. And not only does that show like the progression of how I would normally progress people, but it shows like the evolution of my coaching too, because like Strong and Mobile program was just like bench, squat, deadlift, sissy squat, reverse Nordic curl, back bend, that type of stuff. It's all 2 feet together. And I never did anything else really until really I met you and the baseball guys, which introduced me to like the importance of the unilateral stuff and the thrower stretch and whatnot. And so then he messaged me today and said, hey, coach, just want to let you know that I finished the first workout in the Fast Twitch program, and it was the best workout I've had in a long time. I really think it could be what helps me get to 67 meters this spring. Love what you do and lots of respect for what you've accomplished so far. And then I posted that video today, not even plugging the program or anything, but just me doing the split squat jumps and the reverse lunge. And then another person bought the Fast Twitch program. So I'm like, man, it's a sign. It's like, I'm built for speed.
I am speed. Yeah, it's cool. I can't wait to start getting back into stuff like that. And actually, because I was saying in my post today, is just I want to train hard, and what I'm doing is difficult. Like it is hard training, but it's a different kind of. It's just it's a different kind of mental. It's a mental hard. It's like it's not as exciting as like the fast explosive movements and the Archuleta split squat, Russian lunges, and then actually sprinting. Like I get tagged in the 10-yard fly, 10-yard dash race all the time with like Rattel and Tim Riley and those guys, and Padula. Padula fucking would smoke me. He was so fast. But like I can't do it. I was like, I could do 10-yard dashes and my right hip hurts. I was like, I can't run another 10 yards after this. I'd die. And like that's what frustrates me, is like seeing them do it, and then Apex being a big thing. Like wanting to do it. It's like, well, the bench I wouldn't be able to do, and this 40 I wouldn't be able to do. It's like there's 2 big events. I was like, I'm not even worth it. I was like, I would love to even consider signing up. I would love to
compete in that next year.
Yeah, I mean, if I was healthy and like was able to train for it the way I would want to train for it, I 100% would have done it. And I think it's really sick what he's doing of like making training like an athlete. Because you had CrossFit, you had High Rocks, you had the Spartan races. Like you had all those big events, but they're all endurance based. They're just all endurance based.
Well, the even what I've thought about too is like, I know we don't really know them that well, but we have obviously mutual connections and stuff. But like if they wanted to take Apex to be like a national thing, that would be sick to have like host one in Connecticut and help them run it
in the next 3 to 5 years. Easy.
Yeah.
If the way the High Rocks blew up,
athlete training is going to be the next wave.
I mean, High Rocks was kind of like the thing. It's just that is like it's not athlete training, but it has more athletic.
Well,
it has more athletic.
It's the the CrossFit Games, but anyone can do it because you're doing like a sled push or the lunges or a medicine ball throw or the battle ropes, like that, it's essentially the CrossFit Games, but the CrossFit Games you had to like clean and jerk and like do muscle ups and power clean, and it's like way more advanced movements. Not everyone could do that stuff.
Yeah, it's just the top. It's like more of like a pinnacle of it.
So that's why even from like a couple standpoints, like with High Rocks, if like a really competitive guy wanted to do it with his wife or girlfriend, like they could both do it. Mm-hmm. Obviously one would be, you would just depend on their time or whatever.
Yeah, and like the closest thing to Apex is the freaking NFL Combine, and the only way you could do that is to go play in the NFL.
Yeah, man, like, where my invite at?
Man, I be doing the Archuleta program. Why ain't I there yet? Thanks for tuning in.
And if you enjoyed it, please leave a 5-star rating and review and share the show, because the only way that this show grows is if you like it, share it, and tell your friends and family about it.
New episode every Monday.